Hello, welcome. We're back with more Ace Attorney investigations. Let's go. Episode 4, Turnabout, Reminiscence. We're gonna go back to the past. Kay Faraday, the young lady who calls herself the second Yatagarasu. The piece of cloth that she conjured up has taken me back to many years ago. 7 years earlier. 7 years. Hey, look who it is. Hey, look what room we're in. Yeah, that's right. I did it. I killed the guy. But it was the great thief Yatagarasu that told me to do it. I asked the defendant, just what exactly are you trying to say? Don't you get it? I know the true identity of the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu is the man standing over there at the prosecutor's bench. Uh-oh. Are you saying that I'm the Yatagarasu? Don't you dare deny it. You told me to kill him when you snuck into the embassy. Are you claiming that Mr. Faraday is the Yatagarasu? That's exactly what I'm saying. Mr. Rao, I think we've heard just about enough out of you. Your Honor, please listen to me. I'm telling the truth. You've got to believe me. In accordance with the defendant's accusation, a new prosecutor shall be called to replace Mr. Faraday. This court will be in recess until the new prosecutor is ready. Here we go. Judgy's back. September 10th, 3:20 p.m., District Court, 3rd floor lobby. Also notice that Edgeworth is wearing his debut outfit and not his regular outfit, because this is before even the series begins. It's almost time for me to enter the courtroom. And so it is that my first assignment as a prosecutor will be as a replacement for a prosecutor who has been accused by the defendant. Edgeworth. Ah, look who it is. Sir. Have you read over all the documents regarding this trial? Yes, sir. I've memorized everything there is to know. Very good. The paperwork for the prosecutor's substitution is just about complete. Edgeworth, always bear in mind that as your mentor, I, Manfred von Karma, will accept nothing short of perfection. I understand, sir. To have the chance to stand in court at such an early stage in my career, I am honored and proud. As I have watched over your studies, I am giving you this very rare chance. Prove yourself. Crush the defendant's pathetic lies into oblivion. Yes, sir. That such a legendary prosecutor will be watching and judging my performance. I have to be perfect in every way. Okay, we're walking around now. We got anything in our inventory? No. We got the prosecutor's badge. Proof of my profession. My mentor said it was more chic to keep it in my pocket. And we got Manfred von Karma, age 60. My mentor who has never known defeat in 35 years. A legendary prosecutor. Yep. Not for another 5 years. he'll be fine. Okay. What do we got? Today's trial should have ended in just 1 minute. Because the defendant was picked up by the security camera, correct? Exactly. The killer had the gall to say that he only killed because he was instructed to do so. Even more outrageous is his claim that the case prosecutor, Bern Faraday, gave the order. Ha! Faraday is such a fool. He's been cornered by his very own prey. Sir, are you an acquaintance of Mr. Bern Faraday? He is a pathetic man who speaks nothing but nonsense. Nonsense? He once tried to explain to me a way of punishing those who cannot be brought to court. Those who cannot be brought to court? That is nonsense, for no man is above the law. Well, there are always a few exceptions. However, there is no reason to even deal with such individuals. The prosecutor is a guardian of the court, one with no obligation to outside matters. Thus, there is no reason to deal with such individuals. I see. Edgeworth, disgracing yourself as Faraday has will not be forgiven. Have no fear, I will not let you down, sir. In place of the accused, prosecutor Bern Faraday, I'll prove the defendant's guilt. Very good. I've secured an hour of recess for you to prepare to do just that. Show them all the power of Von Karma. Hey, you want to look at my badge, Manfred? It is thanks to you that I have finally become a prosecutor, sir. It's amusing that you wanted to become a defense attorney, yet became my student. It is a strange path you've traveled. It is true that I had once wanted to become a defense attorney, but now I am honored and proud to be a prosecutor. I see. And as a student of mine, I suggest you remember this well. The prosecutor's badge is not to be flaunted. The dignity of a prosecutor lies in the man himself, not in the badge. I understand. I will keep that in mind. Besides, why put holes in your fine garments? It's simply preposterous. Prosecutors must also take pride in their appearance. I will keep this in mind as well. I'm constantly having to remind the others at the prosecutor's office of this. It's more fashionable to keep your prosecutor's badge in your pocket. In other words, always treat a prosecutor's badge with care and honor. I understand, sir. That's nice. So, all prosecutors must dress like vampires. That is the Von Karma way. Today's trial. So, have you achieved a firm understanding of the case? Yes, sir. I have memorized everything that is written down in the case files. Well then, explain the case to me. I want to see if you really know what you're talking about. Understood. A murder was committed on September 8th in front of the Cadopian embassy. The victim, Mr. Okay, we finally came to it. I think I made this joke at the start of this series, but yes. The victim's name, Mr. Dead Man. Okay. Was a staff member at the embassy. The defendant in this case, Mr. Macrell. Somebody on the localization team just did not care at all in this case. Was held for questioning the night of the incident as he was deemed suspicious. He was quickly placed under arrest for possession of the murder weapon, a gun. Furthermore, at the time of the murder, the great thief Yatagarasu had successfully infiltrated the Cadopian embassy as well. At first, Rel claimed that he himself was the Yatagarasu, but that he did not kill Dead Man. I wonder what he expected to gain from such a desperate lie. It's possible that he wants to go down while in the spotlight if he's found guilty. There truly is no limit to people's inanity. But I digress. Continue, Edgeworth. Yes, sir. During the trial, the prosecution presented the security footage that captured the murder. The footage clearly showed Mr. Rel as the murderer. The act of Mr. Rel firing the gun could be clearly seen from the visitors' gallery. Upon seeing that, the defendant retracted his statement and admitted to the murder. I did it because I was told to, by the real Yatagarasu, Bern Faraday. That sounds about right. However, you've forgotten one thing. Huh? While this may appear to simply be the murder of a Cadopian embassy staff member, people are actually referring to it as the second KG-8 incident. The second KG-8 incident? I'm very sorry, sir. I fear I failed to study hard enough. Well, even among the police, it's information that only a select few are privy to. Could you please enlighten me, sir? Yeah, the second KG-8 incident. Let's talk about it. Sir, what do you mean by the second KG-8 incident? In order for me to tell you that, you must first learn about the original case. Take a look at these documents. This is a 3-year-old newspaper. KG-8 incident overview. You have heard of the Amano Group scandal before, correct? Hey! Linking it back! Yes, I have. The secretary of Ernest Amano, the Amano Group's director, was arrested under suspicion of smuggling. Correct. CCU was an employee of the Amano Group, and the sole witness to the smuggling operation. It was she who brought the crime to light. However, Miss Yu was silenced before she could testify in court. Wasn't a Cadopian embassy staff member arrested for the murder? Yes, a Cadopian by the name of Manny Koakin was the suspect. However, due to lack of evidence, the case went unsolved. Lack of evidence? Ha! If only I was in charge of the case, I would have done everything in my power to prove his guilt. To make sure that all criminals are found guilty. My mentor really is dedicated. Faraday was the prosecutor on the case then, and he was as pathetic as ever. Mr. Faraday was in charge of the KG-8 incident as well? That's right. And now, once again, the victim of the case you are currently assigned to was someone who was scheduled to testify against the smuggling organization. And just like last time, the victim was murdered right before he was to testify. You're catching on. The victim was murdered just before his day in court against the smuggling organization. Events are occurring almost exactly the same way as they did in the KG-8 incident. So that's why it's being called the second KG-8 incident. Yes. Yet there is one difference between the two incidents. What would that be? The so-called noble thief that is sending everyone into an uproar. The great thief, Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu. I better find out more. KG-8-2, Electric Boogaloo. Yes. We got that. We got Faraday, K. Faraday, Burn Faraday. The names there, they line up. The fact that, you know, we're talking to Von Karma, and this is a flashback case, all kinds of fun stuff. If it is true that the Yatagarasu showed up at the Cadopian embassy, what could he or she have been after? No doubt to steal any suspicious accounting records and release them publicly. Or more likely, to steal secrets from the Cadopian embassy itself, since the item that the Yatagarasu stole from there was sent to the police. What was it that the Yatagarasu sent to the police? I don't know the details. Anything related to the Yatagarasu is getting the top secret treatment. Still, I find it very ironic. By returning the stolen item to the police was proof positive that the Yatagarasu had infiltrated the embassy on the same day the staff member was killed. Criminals have a way of incriminating themselves, wouldn't you say? That would have to be the first time the Yatagarasu has left evidence behind, correct? Yes, indeed. If you wish to learn more about the Yatagarasu, then I suggest you ask Faraday. Mr. Faraday? He happens to be the prosecutor in charge of the Yatagarasu case as well. He's the prosecutor in charge of both the KG-8 incident and the Yatagarasu case? Mr. Faraday really has a lot on his plate. Well, who's this? What is it, little girl? You're scary, mister. Did you need something? I want to trade these coins with you. A fistful of dimes, quarters, and pennies. But it looks like you've exactly $1. Is this what you want? Thanks! That's exactly what I needed! Will that child be here to watch the trial? How disrespectful for a child like that to be running around inside the courthouse. Does no one have respect for this country's judicial system anymore? The paperwork for the prosecutor substitution is complete. Why, do you even know how much time there is left before the trial resumes? I'm so sorry. I can have you mopping up this courthouse instead of protecting it in an instant. It's no bother, sir. Not being completely prepared could prove to be a perfect handicap for me. A proud one you are. You had better collect the evidence from Faraday and prepare yourself. It's time for your debut, Edgeworth. There we go. September 10th, 4 p.m., District Court, Courtroom number 3. Hey, we're back! So this is what it looks like from a different perspective, and very quiet. Just what is going on? Why isn't Faraday here yet? How is it possible that the defense is not prepared yet either? Bailiff, where is Mr. Faraday? I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention. Hey, look who it is. Ah, you must be the one Mr. Von Karma recommended. I hear this will be your first trial. I look forward to seeing how you perform. Oh, by the way, was there someone celebrating a birthday during the recess? I could have sworn that I heard a popper going off. Come to think of it, the other day with my grandson... Sir, it looks like the trial is about to resume. However... Yes, it will be all but impossible to prove the witness a liar without the evidence from Faraday. What is that blasted buffoon up to? It's an emergency, sirs! Silence! There shall be no yelling in this sacred hall of law! Bailiff, remove the man from this courtroom at once! Please, wait, you have to listen to me. There's an emergency. Defendant lobby number 2, Mr. Faraday, and the defendant, the two of them, they're both dead, Your Honor. What? What? I like how every character looks older or younger based on the timing of the case, but the judge always looks the same. Yep, he is immortal. Young judges for justice. Speaking of which, September 10th, District Court hallway. Stay back. No one's allowed on the crime scene. Period. Just who does this oddball think he is? This is becoming quite the hotspot. Isn't she Mr. Rell's defense attorney? Hey, you! No running in the hallway, pal! And who are you to tell me what to do? I'll never find out what's going on like this. It's time for some civil discourse. What is this? This sofa looks like it's seen its fair share of use. And it looks like another part of the courthouse is visible from the window. Ugh! My eyes have locked with my reflection's eyes in the barred window! As a student of Von Karma, I refuse to back down. I won. But what about the ants? I see ants coming in because there's something on the floor. Let's walk around a little bit. Can we go out this way? First, I need to get a handle on the situation. Perhaps I should talk to some people. Fire extinguisher. A fire extinguisher, if one were to be hit in the head with this, I suppose the victim would lose a memory or two. Ha ha ha! You remember that time when that happened to Phoenix? That was a great case, wasn't it? That was certainly not one of the worst starting cases in the series. But it's not as though I'd ever be so foolish as to be struck by one of these. That's right. Only silly defense attorneys get their memories wiped by fire extinguisher. A poster of the judge. There's a longer slogan of some sort on it in tiny letters at the bottom. Every strike of my gavel brings the truth closer to me, and my hair farther away. Is this a promotional poster for the court or a hair growth product? Yeah. Defendant lobby number 1 is through here. The incident took place in lobby number 2 next door. I shouldn't allow myself to be sidetracked like this. I'd better get a move on. A drink vending machine. Ugh. Now is not the time to be pondering what kind of drink I want. What kind of drink would Edgeworth want? That's the question I have. Interesting. They're selling special court-themed food products here. Many of them seem sort of troublesome and suspicious. Objection, I suppose. What's it? Ham sandwich, Swiss rolls, beef jerky. What's suspicious about those? Alright, let's talk to whoever this fellow could be. And you are...
Who? Me? Hey, pal. It's common courtesy to tell someone your name first before asking theirs.
Point taken. My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I am a district prosecutor.
A prosecutor? I've never seen a prosecutor as young as you, pal.
I've told you my name. Now, would you mind telling me yours?
Detective Dick Gumshoe. And just recently, I achieved my dream of becoming a detective. More than a dream. It's what I was born to do.
Wait,
maybe I should check and make sure I'm not really in some crazy dream first.
This detective is entirely too excited to be at a murder scene. Want to look at my badge? You mentioned that you've only recently become a detective, did you not?
You got it! I'm a brand spanking new detective!
So that means you've probably never seen a real prosecutor's badge, right? If you so desire to see one, I just might be able to make your day.
You don't have to go through the trouble, pal, because a real man has a police badge. And someday, I'm gonna become an ace detective, just like Detective Bad. Did I say something wrong, pal?
Forget it, detective. Aww. A vending machine that sells milk seems pretty... Yeah, that actually, yes, that's a little weird. Milk out of a vending machine. I would not, no. It's like gas station sushi. Do you have any insights on this, Detective Gumshoe?
Well, as a detective, I'd rather see something that's actually related to the case, pal.
And here I thought that was related enough. Alright, let's go back. Detective Bad seems like a man we can trust. Oh, man. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you mind telling me what you know about the incident?
You know that I don't have to tell you anything, right?
I know that, but it would behoove you to fill me in what you know.
Wow, you're a proud one for such a youngster, aren't you? Well, anyway, Detective Bad is the one in charge, so you're just gonna have to ask him for all the details, okay? As for me, I was guarding the door to defendant lobby number 2.
So you were on guard detail. Did you notice anything strange while you were on duty?
Well, I freaked out when I heard a gunshot, and then I kind of froze.
You're a detective and a measly gunshot scares you that much? Then again, I can hardly claim to not know what it's like to hear one at close range.
Then Detective Bad came running to the scene. We went into lobby number 2 together, and both men were lying there, dead.
Is that everything?
Yeah, that's it. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle.
Interesting. Other than the gunshot, he didn't hear a single sound of commotion. Alright, didn't hear anything. Well, thank you. Let's talk to our trustworthy fellow here. Excuse me, but who are you?
Detective Tyrrell Bad. Homicide.
I was informed of the situation and came as quickly as possible. So, how did you arrive and inspect the body before me?
Faraday requested for me to testify in the trial. Plain and simple.
Mr. Faraday requested that you be here. Hey, why don't you look at my badge?
Does showing that off make you feel like a big, strong prosecutor?
Of course not. I was simply proving my title of prosecutor to you.
I see. But most prosecutors don't go around flaunting those things. It's like a detective walking around outside with his badge flashing in the sunlight. Show that off too much, and before you know it, He'll be elbow deep in angry criminals.
That would definitely be a problem. What about the KG-8 incident? Detective Bad, I'd like to ask you about this piece of evidence. He's looking at himself in the mirror. Could you please pay attention?
I'm listening. But I got nothing to say. End of story.
Very well. Why didn't you just say that in the first place? What about Gumshoe's testimony? Detective Bad... Oh no, he got nothing to say about Gumshoe's testimony either. Okay. Crime scene.
I've already contacted HQ about the situation. I've got nothing to say to you, kid.
Kid? I'm Mr. Faraday's substitute in today's trial. Therefore, I insist that you update me on the situation. I can't back down here. I have a right to know.
Do I need to teach you a thing or two about how to talk to adults, kid?
Is he threatening me? Is he going for his gun? It's a mirror. How dare he trick me like that?
Faraday was stabbed to death with some kind of blade, and he had a gun in his hand. The other man, a Mackerel, was shot and killed. He was found holding a bloody knife in his hand.
Was there anyone else who went into defendant lobby number 2?
Yeah, that big lug over there. His name's Gumshoe. He was in charge of guarding the place. He's claiming that no one else entered the room.
If that's the case, then they must have killed each other, correct?
Maybe.
Such impudence, this guy is really testing my patience! Hello, Ratsmat. And yes, Detective Bad does in fact look like the Giga Chad meme. But this game came out long, long before that. So, technically, the Giga Chad looks like Detective Bad. I like his design, too. I just like all the bullet holes in his trench coat and his tie. Why was I not informed that you were going to testify in court?
Homicides aren't my only gig. The Yatagarasu case is also one of my assignments.
So you were called upon to comment on the Yatagarasu's characteristics in order to assess if Mr. Faraday really was the Yatagarasu or not?
Well. Looks like you just might have a brain after all in that head of yours, son.
Son? I'm not your son, Pops! Yeah, I like his character design a lot. He's great. Very trustworthy guy. Okay. Do you have a minute? You know, I'm not really into talking to people I don't know. Especially at a time like this. I apologize for not introducing myself before bothering you. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I was to take Mr. Faraday's place in court. Edgeworth, huh? Never heard of you. So Faraday's substitute is a newbie, huh? I'll have you know, madam, that I studied under Manfred von Karma. See, he's doing the finger wag, too. See, look, I know how to do the finger wag. Do not take me for some naive novice. Huh? Do not take me for some naive novice. So you're a student of Von Karma. I should have... Those clothes are a dead giveaway. Stop right there. Those are the garments of one who gallantly presents the facts. Thanks for the great laugh. But try not to make me laugh so much, okay? I wasn't trying to do anything of the sort. Just kidding. I was just goofing around. By the way, do you know who I am? My name is Callisto Yu. And if you're telling the truth, then we were about to go head-to-head in court. But of course, I have heard much about you, Miss Yu. But of course, I have heard much about you. You're a regular Shakespeare! Did I say something funny? I don't think someone who has scales for earrings has any right to criticize how Edgeworth dresses. Yes! Alright, Prosecutor's Badge. Check it out. It is a shame that we will not be able to face each other. It was to be my first trial, too. Oh, is that a declaration of war? How nice it is to be young and carefree. And what a nice squeaky clean badge you've got yourself there. I'm jealous. I'm sure its gleam will dull over time with experience.
Are you saying your reputation will also tarnish over time with it?
That's not what I meant.
Well, you can't just avoid some things in life.
I'll never allow my badge or my reputation to become tarnished. Sorry, Edgeworth, but that doesn't happen. What else we got? Detective Gumshoe's testimony. The KJ. Let's talk about Gumshoe's testimony. Miss Yu, what do you think about this piece of evidence? Actually, Edgeworth, I'm interested in finding out what you think about it. I don't really know all that much about it.
I don't really know all that much about it either. Sorry. Guess I can't be of any service.
I shouldn't push her too much. She'll just start laughing again. So, we got a lot of different... So, Byrne was stabbed to death. Okay, he was 40. Dead man was gunned down. Mackrell was killed with a handgun. So that's interesting. He was killed with a handgun, and Byrne was killed with a knife. Weird. We have the Yatagarasu. We have whoever this is. Definitely not Kay Faraday, right? And then we got the judge, whose age is unknown. That's right. Who knows how old the judge is? We got Tyrell Bad. Don't say that to yourself a few times till you figure out what the pun is. Yep. And then Callisto Yu, who's 22. 22? Why are you acting like you're so experienced over me, lady? Crime scene. I'd like you to update me on the situation. I don't really know anything. Why don't you try talking to those detectives over there? If that's the case, then why are you here? What's so funny?
It's just the way you speak is so tactless.
The person I was going against in court until only a little while ago was just murdered. It's not like I could go back into the courtroom pretending as though nothing happened. That's a good point. I apologize for asking such a insensitive question. It's fine, don't worry about it. Miss Yu, there is someone here who wishes to see you. Who is it? A Cadopian embassy staff member by the name of Manny Kawakin. What's going on? Detective Bad and Miss Yu's moods just changed all of a sudden. Somebody wishes to see you. Oh! Wait a second, wasn't Manny Kawakin? I'll be right there. It's nice to see you again, Miss Yu. Why are you here? I have no desire to ever see you again. No. Actually, would you mind stepping outside for a brief chat? Fine, let's go. Hey, Manfred. Bad. Von Karma. It's been a long time. I knew you would show up. You usually do when the Yatagrasu is involved, and I see this case is no exception. Do you know Detective Bad, sir? Yes, he's like an old bloodhound that never leaves the scene of a crime. If only he would get a promotion and move on. It's the crime scene where a detective is most useful and effective. It's not like I don't know that. Moving on, though, Bad. The man that I just passed by, was he not the suspect from the KG-8 incident? So I was right. Just what is that man doing wandering around here? That Faraday, I can't believe he let such an easy catch get away. Imbecile! I would have proved his guilt in 3 minutes. Von Karma, I think you've said enough for now. It's in poor days to speak like that about the departed. Very well. Back on topic. I'm placing Edgeworth in charge of the investigation here. Yeah? Papa, how can you place him in charge? Francisca, what are you doing here?
I'm here for summer vacation. What else? Hey, it's young Francisca. Francisca von Karma. So she is here on vacation from Germany. She is the daughter of Manfred von Karma and a student of his, who's also junior to me.
You're the one who's junior to me, and don't you forget it.
You're not conveniently avoiding the bar examination, are you? Ha! If you are able to pass, then I'll have absolutely no trouble at all. I'll never allow myself to lose to you. Never! And she's got a riding crop instead of a whip. Why does she always have to be this competitive? Anyway, Papa,
are you really assigning Miles Edgeworth to cover the case?
Yes, I am. Why do you ask?
well, you know, I'm close to becoming a prosecutor myself. And I am 100% confident that I can do a better job than him. That's just like Francisca. She has no problem bad-mouthing someone right in front of them. Bad?
Yeah. These two will be conducting the investigation.
What? You want me to let both of those kids loose on the crime scene?
This is a perfect opportunity for them to work on their prosecutorial skills.
The crime scene is not a place for children to be messing around in.
I'm the one with the authority over this crime scene, Bad. And I will not tolerate complaining. Edgeworth! Francisca! I leave this case to the two of you.
Understood, sir. Yes, Papa.
I'll go take care of the paperwork now. Remember, I'll accept nothing but a perfect report from the both of you. Do not disappoint me.
Okay. Miles Edgeworth. It's been quite some time, Francisca. This will be the perfect chance for us to see which of us is truly worthy of the Von Karma name. Would it kill you to at least say hello?
Long time no see.
Very good. Just because you became a prosecutor first doesn't mean you can act all proud.
She hasn't changed a bit.
Miles Edgeworth, as I was saying, we shall see which of us is worthy of the Von Karma name. For crying out loud, I've been reduced to a babysitter. How much T-Mobile internet costs? Yes, I have a burning desire for that too. Look, I get enough Mint Mobile ads despite being a Mint Mobile customer. You know, so yeah. How old is Edgeworth here? That's a really good question. You know, I am not like the biggest super fan here, so I'm not entirely sure. Because he's like, what, 20, in his mid-20s? So this is 7 years, so he's like 18 or 19 here, I think? Looks like Mr. Von Karma was successful in convincing the detective. That's just like him. He never fails. Now, I'd appreciate it if you could quickly run me through the facts, Detective Bad. You're better off checking things out on your own.
Very well.
Seems like getting help from Detective Bad will be a most arduous task. September 10th, 4:15 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Oof. Rough. Is the only real explanation that they killed each other simultaneously? Miles Edgeworth, you should listen to someone until they are finished talking. What are you talking about? I'll only say it one more time. This is a competition to see who is truly worthy of the Von Karma name. A competition? The person that figures out the truth first wins. So the person who doesn't discover the truth is a dishonor to the name. Exactly! I don't care that you became a prosecutor before me. I simply refuse to hear any more foolish things come from your foolishly foolish mouth. Fine. Whatever makes you happy. Can I take that as you accepting my challenge?
Once again, whatever makes you happy.
Ha! Well then, let's begin the investigation, shall we? I'm going to find the perfect evidence and prettily present it like the professional that I am. Competing to discover the truth behind a crime. How delightfully childish.
You kids over there, hold it.
Kid? Ha! Serves you right, Miles. He just called you a kid.
I said kids, kid.
How dare you call me a kid as well?
I'll do what I please, and I won't allow you to cause a ruckus on my crime scene. Hey, big guy, you're gonna watch over these two.
Yes, sir! Detective Bad, sir! Now, do what I say from now on, kids, okay?
You'd better not get in our way, Scruffy. You'll feel the bite of my whip if you do.
Then you, prosecutor boy. Let's get your investigation started already, all right?
Great. Now even that detective is treating me like a child.
All right, it's time to get investigating. Get a move on, prosecutor boy.
My name is Miles Edgeworth. And if you were to call me prosecutor boy one more time, it will be my duty as a prosecutor to look into your monthly salary.
What? And what would you do with my salary after you saw how much it was?
That's up to you now, isn't it?
Really? Sounds good, pal.
He's so naive. Oh no. It's our first ever Edgeworth threatens his finances. Detective Bad, may I have a word with you?
What is it?
It appears that both a knife and a gun were used as murder weapons.
Yeah, it does.
That leads us to our first question of the investigation. Where did the men acquire the weapons?
The gun was inside of Faraday's bag. It was a piece of evidence that was presented in the trial earlier today. It was used to kill the Cadopian embassy staff member. But I never heard anything about the knife. Mr. Rell was being held by the police. There's no way he could have brought it in. Which means it's possible that Faraday had the knife on him from the start as well.
Would it have been a piece of evidence that had yet to be presented? But then why doesn't Detective Bad know about it? Wait, what if it's possible that Mr. Faraday brought the knife in under the guise of prosecutorial evidence? He could have then brought it out and attacked Mr. Rell with it.
Huh. Maybe you got a brain in there after all, kid.
Is he gonna treat me like a child forever?
It looks like Mr. Faraday attacked Mr. Rell first, who then counterattacked. That's the only logical conclusion you can draw from a scene like this.
Not yet. I feel that it's much too early to be drawing conclusions already. I must first find conclusive evidence so as to protect the honor of the Von Karma name. Yeah, this case is a little weird, in my opinion, because Edgeworth is being a lot more interested in the truth than he would be were this actually character development Edgeworth. Why is... Okay, let's look around here. We got... let's look at this.
There's some stuff in the bag, pal.
I suppose this was Mr. Faraday's bag. It's probably the trial evidence I was supposed to collect from him.
This is the evidence? I better not touch it. I'll leave prints on it.
Do you just not pay attention to anything you do? No. The answer is no. There are some plastic bags stacked up on the table. There's a tea set too, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of a disturbance.
Yeah, the table's all neat and tidy.
A neat and tidy table.
Maybe they were super quiet in their scuffle. After all, I didn't hear anything from out in the hallway, you know?
Maybe the plastic bags scattered on the floor are throwing us off. Let's go look at them. Why are there plastic bags scattered all around?
Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal.
I know that much, Detective.
You sure are good at this stuff, aren't you, pal?
Normally, I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but when it's this guy... Anyway, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between the two men? Maybe the outcome of this trial somehow changes Edgeworth's views on the truth, or maybe the writers just didn't consider that. One of these is definitely more likely than the other. Yeah. Like I said, I like this game, Investigations 1, but Investigations 2 is just going to be a whole other world better. This decorative plant's foliage is quite nice. It's actually soothing to be around it. Perhaps I should purchase one for my room. I think he does, too. Yeah. And Phoenix has one in his offices as well. What about out here? The window is open and there's a fresh, flowery scent in the air.
Ugh, the flowers in the garden down there are so gross and ghastly.
Do you think maybe you could try offering something useful for a change?
Well, at least there's no way someone escaped through the window, pal. They wouldn't wake up and smell the flowers after a fall from the 3rd floor.
Are you willfully ignoring the fact that there are also iron bars on the windows? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's that too. Either way, no one could get through these windows, right?
They thought of everything when they were designing this courthouse. Very nice. Very nice. Why does this TV say blunt? Why?
Whoa!
What is it, Detective Gumshoe?
My TV at home is so tiny compared to this one, pal.
Then perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television like this one.
Oh, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge! Ugh! And way too noisy.
You're the noisy one, Scruffy. Don't touch it. You'll get your fingerprints all over it.
But I didn't touch it.
Preservation of the crime scene is the foundation of detective work. The foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to shore up on. Alright. Now we could talk to Bad, we could look at the TV again. The TV has been left on.
Why are you looking at me like that? It wasn't me. I didn't touch anything.
Gumshoe, you do know what will happen to you if you touch something again. Right.
I won't touch anything. I won't even go anywhere near the TV, sir. And you, get back to your investigation, all right?
I was planning to do so anyway. We looked at that. We can look at the crime scene. We can talk to Francisca. And I think that's it. Wait, what about this? It looks like this sofa is ready to be disposed of.
It's so soft, I could sleep for all 25 hours of the day on this thing.
If only I could dispose of him. Oh. Talk to you, Francisca. Ah, I see. Did you figure something out?
This is a competition, Miles, and as such, I'd appreciate if you didn't talk to me.
As you wish. Well, we could look at the bodies. It looks like Mr. Faraday fell on top of Mr. Rell. At first glance, it seems like they must have killed each other. However,
using logic, the only logical conclusion is... Aha!
Well, what was that outburst for?
My detective's instincts just hit me real hard. It was Mr. Rell that fell first, see?
You don't need a detective's instinct for that. It's common sense. But I suppose we won't know much more than that until after I examine the bodies. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Alright, let's look at the knife.
Looks like Mr. Rell died with the knife in his hand.
There's some blood stuck on it.
Then he must have used this as a weapon. Yep, no doubt about it.
Was Mr. Faraday carrying this on his personage? Did he bring this as a piece of evidence for the trial? Or did he bring it with a very different intention in mind? I should jot down some notes about it. Yeah, that catchphrase needs some work, seriously. I don't know why they do that every single time you investigate something. Why are there plastic bags scattered all around?
Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal.
I know that much, Detective.
You sure are good at this stuff, aren't you, pal?
Normally I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but when it's this guy... Anyway, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between the two men? No. Because the tea set is fine.
Looks like Mr. Faraday died while holding the gun in his right hand.
So he shot Mr. Rell and then fell on top of him while still gripping onto the gun.
I guess that does seem kind of strange, huh? I mean, why would Mr. Faraday know how to fire a gun?
It's not exactly rocket science, even though I know how to pull the trigger. Although I doubt I'll ever need to use one.
I hope I never have to fire a gun either, pal. But it sure does look cool to hold a gun in your hands.
It appears that the police's screening procedures need a thorough review. Anyway, I should jot down some notes about the handgun in Mr. Faraday's hand. Handgun! Okay. Mr. Faraday. How ironic it is for him to lose his life in a courthouse.
Yeah. Why did it have to be like this? I don't know what to say. I can't believe this happened while I was on watch, pal.
Rather than beating yourself up, you should spend your time continuing the investigation. Didn't you become a detective in order to solve crimes?
Yeah.
Then get back to work. Find out the cause of his murder.
Right, I'm on it, pal.
And then what have we got? Mr. Rell. First he killed a Cadopian embassy staff member, then he was murdered himself.
This guy wasn't exactly an angel, you know?
Oh, what makes you say that?
Well, he's been hauled into the precinct several times for theft and assault, pal. So yeah, he's definitely the type to have committed a murder or two.
Well, he did admit to killing Mr. Dead Man.
Hey, good point, pal. I knew my detective's intuition was telling me something.
Detective's intuition?
Yep. Do you know about it? It's a special feeling that all
We don't have time for this conversation right now. Let's return to the investigation. Alright, do we have everything? Oh wait, his other hand.
His hand is all black down here, see? I wonder what it could be.
If you look closely, this blotching pattern resembles an ink stain. Ah. Weird. Why does he have ink?
Ah, an ink stain.
Yes, I usually get ink on my own hand when I use my feather pen.
A feather pen? I've never seen one before. You sure you aren't just making that up, pal?
Mr. Rell's cause of death was from being shot, correct?
That's what we think, but it's hard to tell with him lying face down.
Death is bad enough, but it's truly lamentable that someone would try to hide the truth.
Are you sure they were trying to hide something?
I can't confirm Mr. Rell's cause of death with his body positioned like that. Detective Bad, I'd like to examine the bodies in further detail if possible.
What's this?
I'm not able to form a theory with them the way they are. I believe an examination of the bodies is vital to finding the perfect evidence, don't you? I suppose you do have a point. Well, hurry up and get on with it.
Labby,
Yes, sir. We've taken enough photos of the scene, sir.
and there you have it.
Do you not approve?
Of course not.
What?
Investigation of a crime scene is the work of a detective, so don't touch a thing. Hey, big fella, turn over the bodies for me, will you?
Okay. Please forgive me, Mr. Faraday, sir.
Gumshoe, do not get emotionally involved. Remember, you're a detective.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
All right. He won't rest until he has inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. And what? A prosecutor who won't rest in my game? It's more likely than you think. Let's see. He's got a pen. There's something in his breast pocket. It's a fountain pen. Oh. The fountain pen has an especially nice nib. That's what I like to say. You got a nice nib there, buddy.
Hey, you know, I always keep a pencil behind my ear. It's because Detective Bad is always telling me you should always write your name on everything you own.
Yes, somehow you do strike me as quite a forgetful individual. What about the gun and the stab wound? Let's look at this stab.
There's a knife wound in his chest here, see?
I wonder if the wound matches the knife Mr. Rell is holding.
Labby,
Yes, sir. Verifying now, sir.
Make it quick.
From the look of things, one could deduce that the knife Mr. Rell is holding is what killed Mr. Faraday. Alright, and what about this? Mr. Faraday is holding a gun in his right hand.
That's the one Mr. Rell got blown away by, right?
Labby, your answer?
Yes, sir. We found that the ballistic markings do match that gun.
Oh, the ballistic markings are
The figurative fingerprints a gun leaves on a bullet when fired. Every gun leaves its own unique ballistic markings. Therefore, by looking at the markings on a bullet, you can tell which gun it came from.
Yeah, that's it. Of course, I already knew all about that, pal.
Maybe you'd be better off going back to the academy.
Oh, come on, sir. Cut me some slack, will ya?
So the bullet that was fired from this gun is what felled Mr. Rell. It felled Rell! Ho ho! Alright, let's look at his bullet wound. Shot in the chest.
It takes some guts to fire a gun in the courthouse. I mean, I've been a detective for a whole week, and I still haven't fired a single round yet.
There aren't any burn marks on his clothes. That must mean...
Wait, burn marks?
A round grows very hot as it discharged from a firearm. Therefore, burn marks are usually left when the shot is fired from point-blank range. Ergo, Mr. Rell must have been shot from at least a yard or two away. Okay, handgun data updated. Cool.
You sure do know a bunch of neat stuff for your age, pal.
Apparently, this detective has as much common knowledge as your everyday marsupial. Let us now try to understand how the two men died. First, Mr. Faraday took the gun and the knife found from today's trial evidence. Then he aimed the gun at Mr. Rell and fired. However, Mr. Rell managed to grab the knife and counter Mr. Faraday while being shot. Then the two men fell together where they stood. That is my theory, in any case.
What a crazy way to go.
Still, something about that explanation just doesn't seem right. Yeah, okay. I believe I now have a firmer grasp on what happened here. Can we still look? I already checked this area earlier, but it never hurts to take another look. So that means we've seen everything here. Okay. We're good there.
Yeah, pal?
About investigating.
I'm so excited, pal. This is my first real crime scene. Let's get investigating.
Detective Gumshoe, I thought investigations were supposed to be conducted in a calm, collected manner.
What do you know about running an investigation, little boy prosecutor?
I know that at the very least I have a greater grasp than you of what happened here.
What? You don't know any more than me, pal. Look, you just stay behind me, boy, and out of the way.
Ironic coming from the guy that's been a step behind me the entire case. Notice anything?
This is my first time setting foot inside the courthouse. Who would have thought it'd be for my first case as a detective? But you know, I get the feeling I'll be coming here a lot more in the future.
As a suspect, detective?
Of course not, pal. Anyway, this lobby's actually pretty luxurious. I mean, for a defendant's lobby, it's got a pretty big TV. And then there's that tea set on the table over there. Bet you didn't know that I like to drink tea. Wow, this room really is decked out. If it means spending time in here, maybe being a suspect isn't such a bad thing after all.
I'm beginning to suspect that leaving this detective in charge of anything might be bad. But he is right, this room is rather well furnished. And somewhere in this room, the truth is slumbering. It's time to find it and give it a wake-up call. Alright, the only person we haven't really talked to yet is Bad, so let's do that. Detective Bad, do you have any thoughts on the case?
Faraday and Rell. It looks like they killed each other to me. Although, there are a few things that just don't seem right.
And what would they be?
Why don't you try thinking on your own first, before you bother me, boy?
Well, now I've been downgraded to just boy. Okay. I think it's time to do some logic connecting. So let's go. So, we do have, let's see. The fountain pen and the ink stain. That seems like a good connection. Yeah. That splotch on Mr. Faraday's hand. I wonder if it might be the ink from his fountain pen.
Oh, let's ask the lab guy.
Detective Gumshoe, I confirm that the substance on Mr. Faraday's hand is the ink from his fountain pen.
I see. Good work. You know, I've always wanted to say that, even if it was just one time in my life.
If Mr. Faraday wrote with his fountain pen in his left hand, I think it's fair to assume he was left-handed. It appears that Mr. Faraday's pen is very important to our case as well.
Okay, if you say so, pal.
The fountain pen used by the left-handed Faraday. Okay. He's left-handed. That's important. Plastic bag strewn about. Lobby number 2. Neat and tidy table. Let's do the neat and tidy table and the plastic bag strewn about, because that does seem to be a contradiction. There is a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table, and yet a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely that the ones on the floor were knocked over during a struggle. In which case, might there not be another explanation as to how they got there?
Another reason?
I believe it's possible that the blood on the outside of the bag is related somehow.
Hey, please get that blood away from me, pal.
Detective Gumshoe, whose blood is on this bag?
Hold on, let me ask the lab guy.
All right, please hurry.
Wait till you get a load of this, pal. It's Mr. Faraday's. Oh, and the technician said they didn't find anything else on or in the bag either.
It would appear that this bag is a very important piece of evidence.
Okay, if you say so. I leave it in your hands, pal.
All right.
I guess there's not much left to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other.
No, we can't conclude that quite yet. There's still something I find very peculiar here. The theory that they simply killed one another is too simplistic in this case. In fact, there's actually a contradiction that shows there is another possibility.
No way, pal. Really?
I suppose I will just have to show you the contradiction in this crime scene. The gun is in his right hand and not his left. Right? This, left-handed Faraday. Now we come face to face with the contradiction I spoke of, and it is this. Mr. Faraday used his left hand to write with his fountain pen. Ergo, he is left-handed. And yet, the handgun is in his right hand. Don't you find it odd that the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold the gun in his right hand? That, lady and gentlemen, is the great contradiction haunting this crime scene.
Hey, you're right, pal. That does seem kind of strange. But how could something like that happen?
The facts add up to one conclusion and one alone. Someone else put the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died.
Someone else?
Plastic bags scattered on the floor and a gun in the wrong hand. I sense the presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. A person of vile intent who is serious about keeping the truth from us. September 10th, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2.
Here's the autopsy report.
It is probable that Mr. Rell survived for a short time after he was shot. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously from his stabbing. Interesting. Ah. It looks like we now know everything we need to know about this case. Are you sure we know everything? Of course, the incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a rage from being accused and tried to kill the defendant. But the defendant fought back, and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There is absolutely no margin for doubt. Do you really believe that to be the truth? Ha! Are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you, that you don't want to believe it's true?
No.
It's all right. If you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is. Don't worry, I will. What happened? Here we go. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, while Mr. Rell survived for a short time. From this, it is obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rell. And Mr. Rell, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Those are the facts of this case. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, therefore, he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should first look for any holes in her theory. Alright. What happened? Was instantaneous, okay. Do you truly believe that Mr. Faraday died instantaneously? I have the murder report right here. Mr. Faraday died instantaneously of shock due to being stabbed in the chest. There, you see? It's been documented clear as day. This, it's obvious that he died after he shot Rell. Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rell before he died? Do you have any basis for that statement? Your foolishness has no end, does it? Now, I hate to repeat myself. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously. That's all the basis I need. Alright, so if Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, then he must have attacked Mr. Rell before being stabbed. You're finally beginning to catch on, I see. And while Mr. Rell on the brink of death, right? So you believe that the dying Mr. Rell stole the knife from Mr. Faraday? Mr. Rell became desperate as he did not want to die. Human beings can do amazing things when they're put to the test. So the two men struggled, and in the end Mr. Rell was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. The messy condition of this room is a testament to their struggle. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound. Can you really say that it's perfect?
What are you insinuating?
Nothing. However, I can't let what you said slide by without further inquiry. One must be clear and precise. So if you could append that statement to your testimony. Fine. Uh-oh. They struggled and Mr. Rell used the last of his strength to counterattack Mr. Faraday. Last of his strength to counterattack Mr. Faraday. But Rell died first. Right? Is that the contradiction? Died of a knife. Because he's on top. Is that our contradiction? Because, like, yeah. Discovered immediately after gunshot was heard. Faraday died of a knife stab to the chest. The shock from the stabbing caused instantaneous death. He was alive for a little while after being shot. So, that's what I'm thinking, because why, then, if Faraday died instantly, is he on top of Rell in this? So let's see. No? Francisca, I advise you to take a look at this piece of evidence. And what are you trying to say with this? I'm saying that this piece of evidence doesn't contradict with my testimony. Ugh! Miles Edgeworth, just face it, I'm going to win our little competition. Ugh, I have to calm down and do a better job of finding a flaw in her logic. Alright. Mr. Rell used the last of his strength to counter. Okay, so that's not it. Well, let's keep pressing then. About this statement, Mr. Rell used all of his remaining strength to take the knife and defend himself. One can easily see that they had a violent struggle. Of course, it's nothing compared to what my riding crop can do. How does one compare the damage your crop can do with the state of this room? Furthermore, all the plastic bags on the floor in this room were scattered there due to the fight. Is there anything else that I can explain for you? No, that will be fine. Aha. Those are the facts of this case. Blending speculation is fact already. Don't you feel that the evidence is a bit lacking? You'll find all the evidence you need just by looking around this room. Mr. Faraday collapsed on top of Mr. Rel. In addition, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, making a counterattack impossible. Furthermore, the room is a total mess from their fight. I dare say that there's more evidence here than you could whip a whip at. It looks like she's becoming more and more confident. And looking at this place, she might have a right to be. After all, everything here seems to support her theory. It looks like you're starting to see my point. I've as good as won our little competition. There's something strange about Francisca's theory. I should compare her claim with the data I've gathered thus far. I just know there's a contradiction somewhere. Is it the bags, then? Let's go to statement 3, because that's the one that we got unlocked, quote-unquote. And that's usually the one that you have to present on. So, the room does not show signs of a struggle, right? Do we have something indicating that? One of the bags strewn on floor of lobby number 2 has Faraday's blood on it. Yeah, he did not hear signs of a struggle. How about Detective Gumshoe's testimony? Yeah. If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused quite a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing. Ha! You place too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know. But for the sake of argument, let's say there wasn't a fight. How then did Mr. Rel get his hands on the knife? Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right here in lobby number 2. It is not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. Rel saw a chance and took it out at some point. So, what you're saying is this. Mr. Rel took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from the bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rel after being stabbed? Isn't there something strange in Francisca's statement just now? Let's look at it again. So what is she saying? Mr. Rel took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from the bag, and then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rel after being stabbed. Yes, because Faraday was dead instantly. Yes, something's off. Wait, something doesn't add up. Oh, really? It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rel after being stabbed. Crime scene notes. According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Ergo, he could not possibly have fired the gun after that. Oh, you got me. But of course. Well then, if the report is correct, then there is only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Rel attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been unable to kill Mr. Rel. Therefore, Mr. Rel must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot. Then they both died. That is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Francisca. I just wanted to explain it to you as simply as possible. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid, and still expect to discover the truth that the crime scene offers you. Francisca, you've still got a ways to go.
What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic?
Mr. Faraday died instantly. And the fact that he did is what gives rise to the contradiction in this scene. The contradiction here in this crime scene is the order of events, the evidence bag's location, the order the bodies fell. Well, the evidence bag's location is a contradiction, but the order the bodies fell is also a problem. So I don't know which one to tackle. Because the evidence bags, if the tea set is perfectly undisturbed, and yet the evidence bags, which are right next to it, is all over the place, that's weird. But at the same time, the order that the bodies fell is also weird because we've got... Evidence, please. Thank you. Okay. Faraday died, then Rel died. But the idea is that if Faraday died, he would have fallen down first, and then Rel would have fallen over. But that is a problem, right? So, the order the bodies fell. We're going to try that one first. Let me get this straight. What you are arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rel. Then the wounded Mr. Rell found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot, and Mr. Rell died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which their bodies are piled. No! Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rell's. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible! Yes, I agree that it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind this crime scene that we must solve is... No, not so fast, Miles Edgeworth! What now? I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. And that it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. What happened, part 2? It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rell's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. I just know that Francisca's explanation isn't absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. Once I do, I can then present her with the evidence that proves the contradiction. What happened? Part 2. Here we go. It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rell's. About that. Pressing someone's testimony in order to gain some time to think. You're a real one-trick pony, aren't you? It's too bad your trick only works on fools.
That wasn't my intent!
I simply wish for more details as to how Mr. Faraday ended up on top of Mr. Rell. Someone's impatient. I was just about to explain everything to you. So do you think you could hold on for a minute?
Duh! Francisca, I'll make you a deal. I'll hold on if you hold on to that whip of yours.
Oh, I'll hold on to it, all right.
As I whip you. Yeah!
She went triumph the insult comic dog there.
That is a good thing for me to whip!
Well, now that you've quieted down a bit, I'd like to continue, if you don't mind. Two bodies fell into a pile. The two fell on top of each other. Don't you find that to be just a bit strange? Not at all?
Ugh!
I can see it in her eyes. She's dead set against me from the bottom of her heart. Miles Edgeworth, once I'm done here, you'll see that there's nothing strange at all. Now then, the two men fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had the two different weapons in his hands. He made to attack Mr. Rell while holding both the knife and revolver, and then, after Mr. Faraday fired the gun, Mr. Rell grabbed the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. That is how Mr. Rell wound up on the bottom with Mr. Faraday on top. At close range, that is more than possible. Yes, it's possible, but... Well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got. Oh, I will. And to that extent, I'd like for you to append what you just said to your testimony. I don't see any point to that, but as you please. Alright. The fact indicates that they attacked each other at the same time from close range. Hang on, the two bodies fell into a pile. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Doesn't matter if they fell in the opposite order. Well, hang on, let's talk to that. You're saying that they attacked each other at the same time from close range? Exactly. Mr. Faraday pointed the gun at Mr. Rell's chest and pulled the trigger. Mr. Rell then took the knife from Mr. Faraday and stabbed him before he fell unconscious. The dead Mr. Faraday instantly fell on top of Mr. Rell from the stabbing, pinning Mr. Rell under him, where he died shortly thereafter. And that's how they ended up on top of each other, with no contradictions to be seen. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. I don't know about that. Do you really believe they fell in the exact opposite order in which they attacked? Miles Edgeworth, you're not listening to a word that I'm saying.
Duh!
They both attacked each other at the same time, and Mr. Rel fell first by chance, leaving Mr. Faraday to just happen to fall on top of him. Then Mr. Rel died shortly thereafter, pinned underneath Mr. Faraday. That's how it happened. So the two men attacked each other, with Mr. Rel randomly falling down first. The fact that the order that they attacked each other in varies from the order they fell in doesn't cause a problem for me. However, there's definitely one certain aspect that I'm having trouble swallowing. The close range, right? Because that seems to be what's at fault here. Plastic bag strewn on the floor. It has his blood on it. Can we examine it? This blood here is from Mr. Faraday, but there are no other clues to be found. Which begs the question, do I need to put this bag inside another bag in order to preserve it as evidence? Yes. Oh man, that is a conundrum. And the fountain pen, can we look at that? It seems Mr. Faraday was in the habit of using a very nice fountain pen.
That's the total opposite of me. I don't get these things at all.
Yeah, well, I think the pencil behind your ear suits you just fine.
Really? You think so, pal? Man, I knew it was worth something.
That wasn't exactly a compliment, Detective. Huh. Let's look at this. This looks like a quality nib.
Hey, let me test it out, pal. Oh, this is really... I got ink all over my hands.
Detective Gumshoe, don't ever play with the evidence like that again. Alright, so there's nothing, like, crazy about it. I wondered if it was, like, secretly a knife or something. Okay, so it's just a normal pen. Got it. What about the gun? Can we look at the gun? We're not allowed to look at the gun. Not allowed to look at the knife. Okay. The KG-8 incident, I don't think that's a problem. So, hang on. Burn Faraday, Mackerel, discovered immediately after a gunshot was heard. Remarks about the bodies. Faraday died of a knife stab to the chest. The shock from the stabbing caused instantaneous death. Okay. Rel died of a bullet wound to the chest. There is no gunpowder burn in his clothes, suggesting he was shot from a few yards away. It is possible he was alive for a little while after being shot. Got it. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, and then there they are. So, I wonder if the problem is the strewn about evidence bags. And the fact Faraday's blood is on one of them, even though it's not underneath him. Is that the problem? We have a lot of theoretical life bar, so we could risk it. Let's see. No. Nope, it's not. Yeah. Okay, it's not the bag. Got it. Fact that indicates they attacked each other at the same time from close range. Wait, hang on a second. But remember, he doesn't have any powder burns, right? Bullet that killed Rel was fired from a few yards away. Ah! Yes. There. Because he doesn't have any burns on his shirt. So you believe they killed each other at close range. Sorry, but that's impossible. Just as it is written in the crime scene notes, the firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. Rel's clothes. Therefore, Mr. Rel and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. Ah! Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. The two bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. Rel moved that far after being shot, that leaves only one possible explanation. What a completely foolish line of foolish thought from a thoroughly foolish fool. If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill, huh? Who? The person that attacked first with murderous intent. That would be... neither! Mr. Faraday, Mr. Rel, or neither man. It's Odysseus there. No man has attacked you today. Who did it? It was no man. neither man. Here in this room, contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can be only one explanation. There was a third person here. It was that third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell, and set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit.
Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing you're missing.
Evidence, correct? Exactly. Everything you've said up until now is nothing but a story played out in your head. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime? Of course. If a third person was truly here, that fact would resolve the glaring contradiction. The proof that this has all been a setup made it look like they killed each other. I'll present it, and lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. What is the piece of evidence that proves there was a third person involved? Is it the plastic bag? Is it the plastic bag, or is it the fact that Faraday has the gun in his non-dominant hand? That's what I'm wondering, because the plastic bag has to mean something. But I'm wondering if it's the fact that Faraday has the gun in his right hand when he was left-handed. Let's see. This is that very evidence.
And exactly how is this related?
Do you think you could explain it to me? There is no need for an explanation.
Well, I have no idea how it's related, so could you please explain it to me?
Yes, well, let me guess. You can't explain it, can you?
Yeah!
It would appear that I was wrong. But there is definitely a contradiction here, and it should resolve itself if there truly was a third person here. Did you go over my thoughts? Okay, what is the piece of evidence that proves... okay, let's think, right? So we got the, This is a very interesting question. So my other possibility was the bag, right? But... So it wasn't the crime scene notes. The handgun found in Faraday's hand. The plastic bag. One of the bags strewn on the lobby has Faraday's blood on it, which is odd. And then the fountain pen doesn't make sense. The knife doesn't make sense. So it's one of these two, I think. It's either the handgun or the plastic bag. The handgun probably, because that's at least tangentially connected to my original point, which is that he has the gun in the wrong hand. He would not have gone for that if he was going to shoot the guy. So I think it's the handgun. Hey, it is. The gun in Mr. Faraday's hand, and the plastic bag with his blood on it. Ah, so what is it? Either of them? These two items point to the presence of a third person. How so? Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony.
I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle.
If there wasn't a struggle in this room, then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground, meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for the moment, there's a high probability of blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit held the knife with a plastic bag around it, they could use the bag to catch any blood splatter from where they withdrew the knife. Then, by spreading a few more plastic bags around, mixing the blood in with one of them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal their presence. Ah!
Looks like we've still got a long way to go in this investigation.
Yes. Oh.
What the heck's up with you, pal?
Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest.
What?
What's the meaning of this?
Ha! Looks like you're not man enough to discipline your own subordinates. Where's the judge here?
Don't you dare.
That detective claims he was there, standing in front of the door the entire time. But I have it on good authority that it was all a giant lie.
Miss Yu,
I ask that you please explain that last statement. I'll let His Honor explain it himself.
I saw it with my own eyes, I tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What?
See, Mr. Bad? So I ask you, why would a detective who was supposedly doing his job the whole time want to fabricate such a lie?
Gumshoe, did you kill Faraday?
No! Of course not, sir!
It would appear that the one who set this whole crime scene up is that detective, which basically renders his testimony a complete lie and wholly invalid. It looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles. Yeah, he said he was in the hallway the whole time. Was he? Was that statement really a lie?
Detective Gumshoe, you're now a suspect in the murder of 2 men. Now spit out the truth, or so help me.
I haven't lied to anyone, sir. Honest. I really was there. I was in the hallway the whole time.
Detective Bad, I ask that you please do not act without my permission. After all, I am the one that is heading up this investigation, am I not?
Don't talk like you know what's going on, boy.
All I want is for this investigation to run perfectly. Perfection is the only wish of a disciple of Von Karma, after all. Therefore, before you take a Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something.
And what's that?
What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about? Motive, why he wasn't in the hallway, the state of the hallway. Well, he said he didn't... The state of the hallway, yeah. Detective Gumshoe, I take it that no one else was in the hallway at any time, correct?
Huh? Oh, of course not, pal.
You're being awfully defensive. Might you be hiding something from me?
But watch your mouth, pal. You can't go around saying stuff like that about me without any evidence.
I suppose you're right. I have no evidence at this point.
Miles Edgeworth, how can you be losing a battle of wits with this detective? You're a disgrace. Ugh.
Maybe I should ask about something else. What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about? Well, we got something out of that. It sounds like he's not totally being upfront with us. His motive? Why he wasn't in the hallway? Let's ask that one. Detective Gumshoe, why were you missing from the hallway for a span of time?
Look, pal, like I said, I was there the whole time, okay?
But there is testimony against you that... Miles Edgeworth, why are you wasting our time with a completely useless question? The only logical reason as to why he was absent is that he was busy committing the crime. Anyone who says otherwise is a fool.
Ugh.
Maybe I should ask about something else. Okay, so it's the motive. I suppose the one thing I'd like clarified is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime.
Motive, huh? Gumshoe, you got a grudge against Faraday or anything?
No, sir, not me. Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir.
Is that a fact?
You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe?
I'm telling you, I am not lying.
The more unnatural you act, the more suspicious you become, you know. If you want a motive, Edgeworth, I have one for you right here. Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to flights of fancy, because all I'm interested in is the perfect explanation.
You're serious, aren't you?
Fine, you amuse me, so I'll humor you with a little courtroom practice. Gumshoe's motive. It was about a week ago. I saw the detective get chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. He stood there super pale as Mr. Faraday yelled, "That's a salary cut for you, you nitwit!" A brand new detective suddenly getting his salary cut? That's reason enough for a grudge. Well, how's that for the perfect explanation?
You totally misunderstood me, pal. No matter how mad I get, I could never hold a grudge.
Quiet. We can't trust anything you say.
Sir.
There's nothing wrong with the motive she proposed per se, but there are some gaps in her logic that need to be filled in. Miss Yu's perfect explanation may not be so perfect at all. Gumshoe's motive. About a week ago. A week ago? Then you and Detective Gumshoe are acquaintances.
No way. I only met him in person today.
Then how did you know about Detective Gumshoe? Oh, I've seen him around before. Okay, I saw the detective getting chewed out. Mr. Faraday was upset. Yeah, you know what else? Mr. Faraday isn't exactly known to get angry often.
But there he was, totally beat red in the face.
And the offending detective just stood there, pale as a ghost, like he was about to die. Just like the face he's making now, right?
Oh, I'm completely innocent, I tell you.
Poor man. It was quite the scene with the detective. He stood there super pale as Mr. Faraday yelled. You just stood there watching this unfold in front of you? Yeah, I have to say it was really enjoyable too. But that's why when I saw Detective Gumshoe earlier, I knew to steer clear of him.
No way. I thought it was because I had something stuck on my face. But you do. Huh? Now what have I got stuck on my face?
Let's start with your eyes, nose, mouth. Oh, and those ridiculous eyebrows.
Huh?
Oh man, messing with your head is just too much fun. Miss Yu, if you don't mind, I'd like to return to your testimony now.
Sure, why not?
A brand new detective suddenly getting his salary cut. To cut a new detective's salary right off the bat like that. I'm not really familiar with the way you guys relate, but is that a common practice?
Speaking of cutting my salary, didn't you threaten to do that to me earlier too?
I suppose I did. It's only natural to cut a worthless detective's salary down to their actual worth. My father can even fire anyone, new or old, with a snap of his fingers.
Do you think maybe that's reason enough for detectives to hate you people?
Well, I guess they really shouldn't cut people's pay.
Detective Bad. Don't tell me Mr. Von Karma cut your salary earlier. Let's see, how's that for the perfect explanation? You call your explanation perfect?
Is it not to your liking?
Unfortunately for you, it's just not up to my standards. Oh, is there something you want me to clarify in that case? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Yeah. Alright, if you could clear this thing up for me. How Mr. Faraday was killed, the motive for killing Mr. Rel, Faraday and Gumshoe's relation. Ooh. So, here we go, right? We've got how Mr. Faraday was killed. I mean, whatever, right? We know that. That doesn't sound very useful. The motive for killing Mr. Rel, like if he killed Faraday, that makes sense in her explanation, but why would he kill Rel, right? Then we have Faraday and Gumshoe's relation. How are they related to each other? I feel like she already set that up by saying that, you know, Gumshoe's only been doing detectiving for a week, and he got flack, you know, from Faraday. So the one that seems like a winner, and I can tell this one, if we choose wrong, is going to ding us because of the health bar up there, is probably going to be the motive for killing Mr. Rel. I think you were right. I understand Detective Gumshoe's potential motive for killing Mr. Faraday. However, what about his motive for killing Mr. Rel? His motive for killing Mr. Rel? Like I would know. If there was no clear motive for both of the murders, then I doubt this incident would have occurred. Wouldn't you agree? Is there anyone else who might have had a grudge against either of the two men? Or should we look into that ourselves? Oh, in that case, I have absolutely no idea. Huh? What? But that's impossible. She must know something. Wait. Can you please not glare at me like that? It makes me laugh. I didn't even do anything and you're already laughing away. Well, anyway, the way I see it, as long as he had a motive to kill one of the two, this crime would have played out the way it did anyway. Oh, would you care to explain your logic? And this time, please try to provide a truly perfect explanation. Ooh, I'm perfect this, perfect that. Stop being so uptight. Or is that a requisite trait for being a Von Karma? Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you shut this rude woman up. I wish you'd both be quiet for just 1 second. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to explain it to you kids. Motive to kill the men. Here we go. There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel. All you really have to establish is that someone had a grudge against one of the two men. Mr. Rel, who happened to be there, became a witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity and set up to look like they had killed each other. Right, I kind of thought that was where we were headed. I wonder if that's really true. Is there no one out there with a grudge against both men? I should take another hard look at the evidence for this morning's case. The second KG-8 incident, as people are calling it, involving an embassy staff member, and the two men who both wound up as suspects in the case. Is there someone else I'm overlooking who was somehow related to them? Well, motive to kill. There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel. Okay. So there is no one else who might have had a grudge against both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel? I suppose no one is a bit of a stretch, but I'm pretty sure no one like that was here in the courthouse today. She's lying through her teeth. We just saw someone like that here earlier. Besides, you don't need to prove that the killer had a grudge against both men. All you have to do establish is that someone had a grudge against one of the two. Is she talking about that Manny guy? Someone with a grudge against one of the men. In that case, aren't there plenty of other people who fit the bill? Sure. After all, who doesn't garner scorn from another simply by being alive? But the only one who held a grudge and acted upon it by killing was Detective Gumshoe. Ugh. Furthermore, okay, Mr. Rel, who happened to be there, became a witness. So you're saying that he was basically silenced. Aren't you glad you managed to avoid the same fate, Your Honor? Why, if you had been the one to witness the blood-covered detective...
What? Detective Gumshoe? You would even kill me? What? I could never do something as terrible as that, Your Honor. There's no need for even a second of deliberation. I will hand down my verdict here.
Your Honor, take a look around. We're not in court right now. It would be greatly appreciated if you would stay here with us in reality.
Ah! Please forgive me. I know not what I do.
Oh, Judge. And you there, miss you, hurry up and continue with your testimony. If you fail to do so, I will whip you into shape. That's nice. Sounds kind of like fun, actually. Anyway, Detective Gumshoe had to erase the witness, Mr. Rel. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity. Okay.
I didn't do it, pal!
No hard feelings, but I don't think we can take the word of a criminal seriously.
But I can't even begin to think up ways to set up a crime scene.
I suppose you do lack the necessary tactical mind required to do such a thing.
Whoa, why do you have to kick a man when he's down, pal?
You shouldn't put yourself down, Detective. You're a big boy. I bet you thought it all up by yourself, right?
Yeah, that's right, and I worked real hard at it, too.
I think this proves one thing about the detective. He has the mental acuity of a worm. I have to admit, her explanation makes sense. However, there is also something she overlooked in her testimony. I should present that piece of evidence and see if I can make her see the truth. Is it the KG-8 file? There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. That one seems easy. KG-8 incident. Yes, there he is. The Manny guy. Manny Kawakin or Kochin or whatever. There we go. Monsieur, I believe there is someone you overlooked in you making your statement. Or rather, is it because you'd rather not bring this person up? What do you mean? We are looking for someone with a reason to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. I can think of at least one person that fits the bill. He was the suspect in the original KG-8 incident, and a member of the Cadopian Embassy staff, Mr. Manny Kawakin. That's right, the very man who came to visit you earlier out in the hallway. The man who killed a member of the Cadopian Embassy staff, Mr. Rell, and the man who was the lead prosecutor of the KG incident, Mr. Faraday. Are you telling me that Mr. Kawakin has no reason at all to kill both of those men? Well, I suppose he might have a reason or two.
You covered for me, pal. Maybe you're not such a bad guy after all.
Don't get ahead of yourself. You're still a suspect. Make no mistake about that. The perfect evidence, the perfect testimony. These are the only things I wish to hold.
But I didn't do it.
You will stay under my authority and go investigate Mr. Manny Kawakin for me. And remember, I will not be very forgiving should any of this leak up.
You want to investigate Kawakin? You just be wasting your time.
And why is that?
Kawakin was up in the viewing gallery, watching the trial. Or so I was told. Every cop in this place has been keeping an eye on the guy since he arrived.
Then the only real suspect we have is still Detective Gumshoe. I suppose so.
No way. Come on, Detective Bad. You gotta believe me, sir. I really was in that hallway the whole time, sir. I never took a single step into this room, sir.
Okay. Then are you saying there was someone else who passed through the hallway?
No, there was no one else, sir.
Then why should I believe you didn't do it?
That is one incredibly foolish detective. Standing right in front of a crime scene all by himself. It's as good as a confession of guilt. I have to admit it's a bit strange. Most criminals will fabricate some sort of lie to escape their crimes. And if that detective really wanted to prove that he is innocent, you'd think he would at the very least offer up, "I spaced out while on duty," or the like.
Come on, Gumshoe. It's time for your interrogation.
Detective Bad.
There goes my gumshoe. Miles Edgeworth, I will go on ahead and report this to Papa.
And that, as they say, is that. Right, everyone? Oh.
Yeah, Judge, see ya. Well, I suppose we should both be getting back to our real jobs now, huh? Before we do, Monsieur, there's something I'd like to speak with you about.
What is it?
I don't know. Let's talk to her. So, what did you want to ask me about? First, why don't you look at my prosecutor's badge? It is a shame that we will not be able to face each other. It was to be my first trial, too. Oh, wait, we already saw this. Yeah, was that a declaration of war? Yeah, I think this is just going to replay the same thing. It would be nice if she showed us her badge, so we could see, you know, the defense attorney's badge that we've spent the whole game, whole series presenting to people outside of this. But all right, let's talk the KG-8 incident. Yeah, The current case of the murdered Kodopian embassy staff member. I've heard that people have begun calling it the second KG-8 incident. Only among you law enforcement types. And what about it? I'd like for you to tell me everything you know about the original KG-8 incident. I'm afraid I can't help you. I don't know anything beyond what was reported in the papers. Wait a minute. The victim was somebody with your last name, and this series doesn't do coincidences. No, I believe you know much more, since you are directly tied to the KG-8 incident. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop with the false accusations. Baseless outbursts are useless both inside and outside the courtroom, don't you know? I do, but I also know that I do have a leg to stand on here. I think you can stop making that ultra-serious face in front of me. If you could please stop laughing for just 1 second. I'm not going to make any headway like this. I'm just going to have to show her exactly how related to the KG-8 incident she is. Alright, look at this. The incident overview. Miss Yu, I believe that I have proof of your connection to the KG-8 incident. That file is your proof? Very well then. Why don't you tell me exactly how I'm related to the KG-8 incident? To the victim. Your connection to the KG-8 incident is through the victim. Huh? The victim's name is CCU. You will note that she has the same last name as you. Ho-ho! Can you really still tell me with a straight face that you are not related to this case? Sorry, but we're not related. Just kidding. You asked that question with such a serious look on your face, but I couldn't help it. Miss Yu, I ask that you please tell me the truth. All right. I'll tell you everything I know. The KG-8 incident. Here we go. As you guessed, the one who reported the smuggling activities of the Amano group was my sister, CCU, as I thought. And she was killed right before she was to testify at the impending trial by Manny Kawakin. But because he was tried once and was acquitted, he gets to live out the rest of his cushy life completely carefree. All because of a lack of evidence. No, I heard that the evidence to convict him did exist. What? I heard it from Mr. Faraday himself after Mr. Kawakin's trial was over. Apparently a man in black made off with the most important piece of evidence. Then the evidence had been tampered with? Isn't it just like a criminal to do something like that? The smuggling ring being run of the Amano group by one of its secretaries? They bailed Mr. Kawakin out. Turns out they were in league with each other all along. How big was that smuggling ring? Was it a large operation? I don't really know, which is why I wanted to become the lead defense. On this case, the people are calling the second KG-8 incident. But I haven't learned anything new at all. I was probably expecting too much, I know. You mean you think this case has nothing to do with the smuggling ring? I don't know what to think. Manny Kawakin, okay? Why did Mr. Kawakin want to meet with you earlier? Actually, he came to watch the trial. Apparently, he only found out that I was the defense lawyer on the case after he'd arrived. He figured he should say hi, and one other thing. Looks like you couldn't resolve anything this time either. Too bad. What's that supposed to mean? Oh boy, stop it with a scary face already. I'm fine. Really. I gave him a good slap across the face. The way she talks about slapping him as she laughs away is kind of creepy. But it's just as Mr. Bad said. He's not related to the double murder. I asked around, and people in the gallery claim that he was in his seat the entire time. Talk about cruel fate. Well, this is about all I know. Sorry. Guess I wasn't much help, huh? That's not true. I'm sorry I made you recall such a painful time in your life. Edgeworth, you really are too serious for your own good. You really need to learn to relax. We wouldn't want you to tie up stress, would we? Thank you for the advice, but there's no need to worry. I work in my own way, and I will catch this criminal in my own way as well. You'll see. Look at you with your game face on, all ready to go. I'm making no such face. Did you know? Laughter is the best medicine, Edgeworth. Don't you get tired of making such a serious face all the time? I'm charged with making sure that all the criminals of this world are found guilty. I have no need for laughter. There you go, making that face again. Oh well. I've got to get going. I still have a few loose ends I need to tie up. Well, there we go. The KG-8 incident in this murder investigation. It is my belief that these two cases are related to each other somehow. Plus, that detective, Detective Gumshoe. It's obvious he's lying, even though the lie is hurting his chances. Clearly, this case is far from over. But whether or not the detective is the murderer can only be determined once I've completed my perfect investigation. Mr. Von Karma, I swear to uphold your honorable name, or my name isn't Miles Edgeworth. To be continued. Yeah, and we're going to continue. We are. Yeah, save it. So we got middle onwards toward the truth. Cool. Okay, I'm going to take a real quick break, and then we'll play for less than an hour more. All right, let's go. September 10th, 4:45 p.m., District Court, 3rd floor lobby. Why is there a guy on the couch saluting with a pained look on his face? And why is there a guy trying to keep water coming out of the fountain? This is also confusing. Sir, what is to become of the trial into the Cadopian Embassy staff member's murder?
Indeed, since both the suspect and the prosecutor are now dead, the case will be dismissed. In other words, the trial ends here, prematurely.
Looks like you'll have to wait just a bit longer for your big debut. I suppose it can't be helped.
The evidence for this trial will be transferred to you in a little while.
Sir, what do you think about the murder of the Cadopian Embassy staff member and the murders of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell?
What an outrageous circus it has all become. But Faraday brought it all upon himself with his naivete.
An outrageous circus. Right, sir.
I grow weary of this topic, Edgeworth. I will have you assigned to a different case.
Papa, you'll come and watch my courtroom debut next, won't you?
I'll consider it.
Sir, if I may, please allow me to continue with my investigation.
Whatever for.
I know that there is already a suspect in the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. However, there is not enough evidence to prove that it is he who committed the crime. I'd like to continue investigating in order to find the perfect proof of his guilt.
The perfect proof? Don't make me laugh! A worthless person like you has no right to claim such a thing as perfection.
Papa, who do you think is the real culprit behind these murders? Miles and I were competing to see who can find the real killer first. Plus, being able to investigate a real crime scene is a really rare opportunity. It would give us some real-life experience, wouldn't you agree?
If you want to investigate this case that much, then do as you wish.
Then you are allowing us to continue?
In court, your top priority is to win. And a solid investigation is one of the keys to winning. We have to make sure you become recognized as a first-rate prosecutor, don't we? It wouldn't be very interesting otherwise. I'm returning home now. Edgeworth, Francisca, see to it I'm not disturbed, save for the results of your competition.
Yes, sir. Of course, Papa. And there he goes. Francisca, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Your logic earlier was built on that scruffy detective's lie. That means that the competition is still on. Yes, just as you wished. I couldn't let you get off so easily. Now then, let's see how well you fare on the investigation from here, Miles Edgeworth. I know I don't have enough information yet, so my first order of business will be to question anyone involved with this case. Okay. What is this?
Sir, nothing to report, sir.
Is there no one who will make this man take responsibility for his actions on the job? Looks like we have no choice but to report this to Papa. Then this guard can have fun in a waking nightmare after being awakened from his dream. Actually, let's not. I kind of feel sorry for him now.
I can't stop the water, sir.
It seems that the man who was here earlier broke it by drinking from it too much. A bunch of fools who pretended to not see the foolishly foolish actions of a foolish fool. Well then, why don't you lend the officer a hand? As if I should have anything to do with this. Besides, that water-drinking fool's mouth is the thing that officer should be covering. Let's give that officer a description of the water guzzler later. She seems to have quite the grudge. It sounds to me like someone wanted a drink. She was denied her drink. Is this the courthouse? It's an incredibly detailed model, isn't it? I heard that it cost as much to make that as it cost to build the courthouse itself. What was the point of making such an expensive model? I felt the exact same way upon hearing it. Ugh, it's so hard to understand such foolishness. Agreed. What is this, a courtroom for ants? Miles Edgeworth? Yes? What is the meaning of this bulletin board? Why are there so few trials posted? It would appear that the entire week is devoted to Mr. Rell's trial. Is the crime rate really that low in this country? Or maybe the police lack the proper motivation to get out there and catch the criminals. I'm afraid I can't comment on that. However, I can say I have my doubts about the younger detectives. Sounds to me like they're in need of a stricter hand. And I'll start my discipline regimen with that pathetic, filthy-coated detective. I feel bad for the big guy, and yet I can find no suitable reason to stop her. That courtroom needs to be at least three times that size. Monsieur. Oh, it's you, Edgeworth. And who are you? Wait, you were at the crime scene just now, weren't you? You should be disbarred for not knowing who I am. I am Francisca von Karma, and I am about to become the successor to the family name. About to? I guess that means that for now, you're still just another kid. In which case, it's only natural that I didn't know who you are.
Why are you whipping me?
Anyway, it looks like they're planning to hold the evidence a bit longer. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's waiting. I'm terribly sorry, but I have a few more questions to ask of you. Look at you, eyebrows scrunched with lines on your forehead. And that to ask of you. What exactly is so funny? Sorry, I'm just bad at dealing with a super serious atmosphere. Apparently they failed to teach you proper behavior at a crime scene in law school. I feel much better now. So, what is it you want to talk about? I'd like to inquire as to where you were at the time of the murder. We were in Defendant Lobby 1 the whole time, up until we heard the gunshot. And by we, I mean Mr. Bad. If you don't believe me, feel free to ask him yourself. You were with Detective Bad. Why? We had a little something to discuss, that's all. Oh, Detective Bad. So I take it you are acquaintances with Detective Bad? Yeah, he was the detective in charge of the KG-8 incident. Huh, Detective Bad is also related to that incident? That's right. He was the one who was supposed to protect my sister, Cece. But you know how that turned out, don't you, Edgeworth?
Miles Edgeworth, I have no idea what you two are talking about.
I've heard of the KG-8 incident from my papa. But how does that case relate to you, monsieur? The victim of that case, CCU, was my little sister.
Huh? You're making that super serious face again.
I'm fine.
Really. I just make it a point to rub some more salt in his wounded pride every time I see him.
The way she talks about doing that as she laughs away is kind of creepy.
Oh, speaking of Mr. Bad,
he and Mr. Faraday, I'd say they met up just about every single time the Yatagarasu made a move. It was practically a given that the two would meet up at every one of the crime scenes. I see. He did mention that he is in charge of the Yatagarasu investigation earlier. Maybe I should ask her what she knows about the Yatagarasu in more detail. The time of the murder, let's do that next. You claim that at the time of the murder you were with Detective Bad. But don't you lawyers usually discuss the trial with your clients during a recess? We do, and that's what I was planning to do. But Mr. Faraday was being rather threatening, and he dragged Mr. Rell away. After that, Mr. Bad came into lobby number 1, so we just stayed there and talked. And what did you talk with Detective Bad about?
Nothing interesting. I just insulted him some. We talked about how the trial was going, and then I insulted him some more.
Bloody, when she's not laughing, her mouth seemingly spews nothing but insults. Anyway, Mr. Bad and I were in defendant lobby number 1 when the murders occurred. So I really can't tell you anything about the hallway or lobby number 2. I see. The time of the murder, let's see, macro. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your client, Mr. Macrell. Now, your client first claimed to be the Yatagarasu, is this correct? Yeah. Once I heard that it was the Yatagarasu that had made off with the evidence from KG-8, I began to ask Mr. Rell all sorts of questions. But to no avail. Turns out Mr. Rell was not the Yatagarasu. He had just made that up. He made it up. Mr. Rell's crime was caught on tape by the security cameras, but there is no footage of him sneaking into the Cadopian embassy itself. Hold on for just 1 second. Then you mean to say that you knew that he was not the real Yatagarasu? And that he was just another cold-blooded killer? And you were ready to defend him? Yes, that's right. I see. So a defense lawyer is actually just someone whose job it is to cover for criminals? That's why defense lawyers are so detestable. But they're no match for us fun commas.
I don't believe it. You're serious?
Why don't you save that face for something really worth being serious about? And Edgeworth, do you remember what I said earlier?
I have my own agenda. I'm still on the hunt for leads regarding the KG incident, all right?
And for that, you have not a single qualm about defending a known killer? Don't put words in my mouth. I said no such thing. The only way I had to get close to Mr. Rell was to be his lawyer. I had no intention of covering for him, ever. So don't you dare suggest I was going to. I'm sorry. Forgive my rashness. Ah, okay. The Yatagarasu. Monsieur, I was wondering if you could tell me about the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu, huh? I don't really know much about that character myself. But I do get a lot of consultation requests from companies to defend them. Requests from companies? The Yatagarasu isn't some petty thief out for money, you know. Alright then. Perhaps the Yatagarasu was in the business of stealing people's lives. You're not very funny or witty, are you? Little Miss Von Karma.
Francisco, be careful about who you whip.
Choose carefully or you may be sued, but no! There. I chose carefully, just like you wanted. Huh?
That is now hilarious, little missy.
Of course it was.
What is wrong with these two women?
Why does my pain give them delight? And so in the end, what is the Yarigarasu? I have to say I had never even heard of this thief when I was in Germany. The Yarigarasu deals in information, namely in digging out dirt about backroom dealings and the like of companies. The Yarigarasu is a vigilante who steals such info and then makes it public for all to see. Vigilante or not, this person sounds like just another criminal to me. I suppose you could put it that way too. But either way, I get a lot more clients now thanks to that thief. Sounds like Miss Yu is profiting nicely. I suppose I've gotten all I can out of Miss Yu. I should move on and speak with Detective Gumshoe now. Alright, we heard the man. Let's do it. Detective Gumshoe?
Hey, it's you, pal. You're here. Ouch!
As am I. I don't think you needed to whip him to let him know that.
I didn't do it, pal. I swear on my honor as the detective, I really didn't.
Your words are useless. I place my trust only in the evidence, Detective. Once the investigation is fully over, and should we find out that you are the killer, there will be no mercy to be had for you.
Have a heart, pal.
But you're not worried, right? After all, you have nothing to worry about if you really are innocent, that is.
That's right. Hey, pal, go and do your perfect investigation and get the real killer for me, will you?
I would have done so, even had you not requested me to, Detective. Motive for murder. So, you and Mr. Faraday had a small meeting last week, did you? And what exactly did you do to make him so angry?
I just asked Detective Bad the same thing myself, pal. It turns out he was mad at me because on my very first day as a detective, I reported him in my usual post instead of the Criminal Affairs Department. By the time I got down to Criminal Affairs, I was really, really late. And that's when he gave me that huge speech.
I remember doing the exact same thing in elementary school, on the first day of school every year. I'd always wind up going to my old classroom. How pathetic for the detective to be comparable to a mere school child. During the recess, you claimed to be standing guard in front of the door to lobby number 2 during the recess. However, when did you receive the order to do so? And from whom?
Earlier at around 3:20, and from Detective Bad, pal. Today's trial took a really crazy turn. So I was told to make sure nothing happened to Mr. Faraday.
And yet something did happen to him, correct? It looks like it was a total waste of manpower to assign you to guard duty.
Ow! Your words sting worse than your whip, pal.
So it was Detective Bad who ordered him to stand guard, huh? Next step. Now then, Detective Gumshoe, is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
Nope, not a thing, pal.
In that case, allow us to take a look at what you're carrying on your personage.
Ah! Wait! You can't do that!
There's nothing of any particular value here.
Well, my handcuffs and badge were confiscated by Detective Bad, so, you know.
And what is that open envelope I see sticking out of your coat pocket?
Hands off, pal!
Just show it to us already.
Yow!
Annual bonus check within $5 total. Except there's no check inside.
You've had your look, now give it back, pal. It's my first bonus as a brand new detective. I just got it and cashed it today. I had literally no cash on me up until I did, you know. So that envelope is really special to me. Now give it back.
You don't need rubbish like this. Don't worry. We'll throw it away for you later.
How could you?
Detective Gumshoe's annual bonus of $5. He literally had no money on him until he cashed this. Okay. I'm sorry, but I need to take him in for questioning now. I think I've asked him just about everything I needed to. No, wait. Since he became a suspect, there is one piece of evidence I should reconfirm. Officer, I ask that you wait a second. I still have one thing I'd like to reconfirm with Detective Gumshoe.
Understood, but please make it brief, sir.
I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I must confirm whether or not his testimony about when the crime occurred is the truth. Okay. It's a bookshelf, What's this? Judges Trial Exchange Log. It appears to be a journal where the various judges share their thoughts and ideas. The real daily lives of the judges are laid out here on these pages. There's nothing about the court in here. It's just page after page of unrelated drivel. Judging by the content, they're very enthusiastic about the courthouse's daily menu. And it would appear that fried oysters are a favorite. I have no use for such foolishly foolish words from that foolishly foolish crowd. Someone please assure me that this is not the true state of the country's judiciary. Oh, we can actually go in here. Oh! We're in the courtroom. Cool. It's the defense attorney's bench. I'd probably be standing on this side of the courtroom if that incident hadn't happened. What are you thinking about? Lately, the more wrinkly your face becomes, the less I'm able to read what you're thinking. Will I never? I'll have you know, I don't have a single wrinkle upon my youthful brow. And then, this is the witness stand. It's the witness stand. I'll make sure that each and every person that ever stands here will be found guilty. There are others besides the defendant that stand at this podium, you know. I don't care. Just make sure you never end up standing at one of these. Or you'll be sorry. I'll keep that in mind. Too late. Well, too late as far as series the canon goes. It's the viewing gallery. This is where the riffraff sit when they come to watch. It's situated at the same height as the judge's bench. I wonder if that's to represent the intense scrutiny of each and every case from all sides. Miles Edgeworth, are you or are you not man enough to stand up to all those eyes? What sort of course I'm man enough. And any day now, I'll be taking my rightful place behind this bench. By that time, I should already be standing here. It'd be downright disgraceful if I beat you to it, wouldn't it? If that were to happen, Francisca, I'll eat my cravat. Okay, well. And what's... Oh, that's the stenographer, I'm guessing? Can we go up to the judges? Oh, we can. Cool. This must be the judge's desk. You can tell by the gavel sitting on top. I had a dream once that I was being squashed from above by this gavel. You're such a weakling, Miles Edgeworth. You have no idea how frightening it was. Nice. Also got an achievement called Behind Each Bench for examining all of the stuff in the courtroom here. Also, Francisca has become stuck. There she goes, back and forth. See ya! Oh, now she's back. Alright. Talk to Gumshoe again? So, his testimony. You told me earlier that you heard no sound other than the gunshot out in the hallway. Is that correct?
No mistake about it, pal.
Then you are also claiming that no one passed through the hallway either? Is that also correct?
Yep. Not even a single ant passed through that hall while I was on duty.
You do realize that the lie you're telling is only making life more difficult for yourself.
Huh? No, but it's true. I didn't see anyone go through the hallway. And I didn't hear anyone else, pal. I bet the killer found a way to kill the two guys that's beyond what I can even imagine.
Edgeworth dreams of using the gavel and saying overruled. Yes. Well, in the next game, he's going to get somebody saying overruled to him quite a lot. So he intends to continue telling this ridiculous lie. But why would he do so, given the situation he's in? I believe a thorough investigation of the hallway in front of the defendant lobbies is in order.
Ah, you! No!
How could you have not noticed that coming? Wasn't that the child I changed money for earlier? Thanks, that's exactly what I needed. Kids can sometimes be so cruel. It looks like she dropped something. A Swiss roll, huh? A courthouse Swiss roll. Huh. Maybe we should arrest the girl. She might turn out to be a valuable lead. Ooh, I believe some sort of punishment may need to be dealt the next time we meet. I believe I've asked all the questions I need to of this man. Now for Detective Bad, and the judge. We have to confirm who is correct, the judge or that scruff face, right? I suppose we should inspect the hallway in front of lobby number 2 next, then. I suppose so. Shall we head on over, Francisca? Here we go. September 10th, District Court hallway.
So, did you see anything else?
No, I don't think so.
I see. Well, thanks for your cooperation.
Oh, it's nothing. Just doing my duty as a defender of the law.
That'll be all for now. I'll ask again if I have any other questions.
Anytime, Detective. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a few loose ends I have to tie up. Oh, you're that new prosecutor Mr. Von Karma recommended, right?
My name is Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor. And I'm Manfred Von Karma's daughter, Francisca Von Karma. I'm set to become the successor to my genius father any day now, Your Honor.
I see. Mr. New Prosecutor recommended by... I bit my tongue.
Are you all right, Your Honor? Please feel free to refer to me as just Miss New Von Karma, Your Honor. As for him, just Edgeworth is fine. Apparently somebody doesn't feel that I'm worthy of a proper title.
Oh, very well then. I shall call you Miss Von Karma and Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth.
Your Honor, Mr. Edgeworth is fine, sir. Now, about your earlier testimony.
Yes, what about it, Mr. Edgeworth?
I would like to ask you a few questions about what exactly you saw.
All right. After all, it's my duty to clarify my testimony as a defender of the law.
I greatly appreciate your cooperation, Your Honor. Now, the first thing I will need to do is figure out that detective's exact movements. Begin investigation. All right. Well, let's see. Can we look at these ants yet? Here we go. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. All right. Is that a bathroom? I can look outside. However, I doubt the killer could have escaped through here. Of course not. This is the 3rd floor, after all. It appears that bars were installed on this to prevent people from falling out. Bars? What bars? Can you not see them from your vantage point? Oh, she's too short. Whoa! I must remember not to bring up that taboo subject again. What about this? What is this? It's a pink-colored piece of trash made of rubber. Like a balloon? I feel like I've seen something like this before. Well, all I see is a piece of garbage. But you know, the fact that there is a littler running loose inside this courthouse, it's simply unforgivable. Duh! It's not like it was I who littered. Rubbish belongs in a rubbish bin. Duh! What do we got here? The ants are hard at work carrying their food home. It's a marvel that they can pick up such comparatively large objects to their size. Well, if you want to carry the mighty Von Karma name and not be squashed under it, you'd better work extra hard, just like these ants. The same goes for you, Francisca. Oh no, the real culprit is the balloon girl? Oh no, not her again. The dirt on this bench, it smells like some sort of sweet substance. I can't believe there was someone going around dirtying the courthouse. For shame! Hey, calm down, Francisca. Now take a good look. Doesn't this smudge look kind of like a handprint to you? I suppose it could be. Which means that perhaps we can lift the prints of the person who sullied this bench. I see. And then we'll know the identity of our mystery slob. You there, the lab technician. Could you please find out who this handprint belongs to?
Sir, yes, sir. I've got the results of the fingerprint analysis, sir.
And do we know who they belong to?
Sir, the fingerprints belong to Detective Gumshoe.
Oh, interesting. Good work, officer. Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints. Nice. And there you have it. Yes, I suppose so. Now we know the identity of the person who dirtied the bench. I sense that you and I will be using this information in very different ways. But what about this? What are these black speckles? I believe it's a pile of ants eating away. Oh, that detective. He claims that not a single ant slipped by him. And yet, here is a whole hill of them. Yeah, what are you hitting me for? As a replacement for that pathetic detective. Perhaps I should add this deduction to the detective's growing tab of pay cuts. Anyway, I wonder what the ants are eating. From the look and sweet smell of it, pieces of cake and chocolate from a Swiss roll.
Miles Edgeworth,
the courthouse is to be kept pristine at all times. No, it wasn't me that dropped food on the ground. The courthouse must be kept clean. No. Okay. Anything else? We can look at the bench. Ants are pouring out of the hole in this bench as well. I wonder if the inside of this bench consists of nothing but ants.
don't you dare continue with that
Gross line of thought. I'm sorry. Okay. Go back. What we got? We can talk to the judge. Well, the Swiss rolls are here at $6, right? It would appear that this vending machine sells snacks and various other foods. Swiss rolls are $6. Interesting. Just lovely. What will they think of next? Don't be a jerk in court like these beef jerks. 1 packet for $9. Defendant's fresh milk. 1/2 pint for $7. Stay neutral as the Swiss do until the end with these for $6. They're awfully overpriced. The lineup is simply awful, period. Speaking of snacks, I wonder if that Swiss roll the little girl dropped is from this machine. I was wondering about that myself. Interesting. Stay neutral as the Swiss do until the end with these. The end of what? Well, I assume it means the end of the trial. I suppose this means that one should eat these during a recess? You can't eat during a trial, so I suppose the only time you can eat them is now, huh? I wouldn't mind if you wanted to eat one now. They come in packs of 2 after all. We're in the middle of an investigation. Besides, I don't have $6 on me. If you want, we can pool our money and buy a bag together. If I have to split it with you, then I don't want it. And what about the hot dog? When you're in hot water, you might need a hot dog. It looks like this slogan was decided through a public contest. And the winner was Prosecutor Winston Payne? What a pathetic slogan. No presents at all. Now, if it was up to me, it would read, if you leave matters in Von Karma's hands, everyone in court will be found guilty dogs. Overruled. That was great. Don't be a court and jerk like these beef jerks? I see. Miles Edgeworth, wouldn't you agree that it's a very clever pun? Do you really think they put that much effort into the product name? Even a foolish fool can understand the foolish thinking of the fool who made it up. You're acting so foolishly foolish that I got so thoroughly mad and am now utterly famished. If you wanted a pack of these, all you had to do was ask like a normal person. What about, let's see, the ham sandwich. This is just comedy gold here. Don't let the prosecution or the defense make a ham sandwich out of you. It sounds like it's directed at that ham of a judge. Well, it certainly isn't directed at me. I can outmaneuver him any day. Yes. How do you know that already? When it's looking bad, blind your opposition with some OJ. Are they promoting violence? Don't worry, my whip will make sure that anybody following this advice won't be for long. Compared to the sting of a whip, the sting of orange juice may not be so bad. Is that an O.J. Simpson reference in this game? No. Defendant's fresh milk. What exactly is that supposed to mean? I bet it means that the milk is freshly milked by various defendants on trial right now. No, I think it might mean that this was milked right here from the various defendants. Miles Edgeworth, you can't possibly be serious. Of course not. What the heck? Okay. Well, that was an interesting journey we just went on. How about the drinks? It doesn't look like there's anything contradictory left in this area. I suppose not. Perhaps I should check somewhere else. Young judges. He's making a most ridiculous looking face. But maybe, but at least he doesn't look like someone who would tell a lie on purpose. I suppose, but to Ivan Kama, evidence is the only thing that carries any weight. Of course, at any rate, this poster seems to be of no use to us right now. Fire extinguisher. There are no signs that this fire extinguisher was used in the crime. If you could already tell from a distance, then why are you wasting your time examining it? Francisca, let's not try to rush absolute genius. Have you found any suspicious fingerprints, officer?
Nope, just the fingerprints on those involved with the case, sir.
I guess we know of the players in this case then, huh? It would appear that way. But I have the nagging feeling that we're missing something. And I suspect what we're missing is hiding right here in this crime scene somewhere. How about this guy? Did you find something, officer?
I think there's a $5 bill back there. Come on, just a little more.
Is there no one working this crime scene who isn't a total waste of living tissue? Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a single person we can deem useful here. And that's Defendant Lobby 2, where we just were. I guess we're down to talking to the judge and Bad. Let's talk to the judge first. Your Honor, I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. Where were you at the time of the murder?
Do you suspect me of something?
No, nothing of the sort, Your Honor.
Very well. You may continue with your testimony.
Your Honor, it's your testimony I'm after?
Oh! I had no idea you were chasing after me or my testimony.
I'm beginning to sense that I might want to avoid being in a trial run by this judge. Oh, tough luck. Look at my badge. Oh my gosh, this is a series first. We're going to present our badge to the judge. Today's trial may have ended abruptly, but we will meet again.
I'm looking forward to that day, Mr. Edgeworth.
When I become a prosecutor, you might even see me in your courtroom a few times. I hope you'll treat me with even greater respect than now.
I only ask that you please do not bring a whip into my courtroom.
I'm afraid that issue is not up for negotiation. As long as the whip can't reach his seat, I'm sure his honor will be safe. I think. Nope. You sweet Summer Edgeworth, yes. Judge, do you like Swiss rolls?
Oh, it's a courthouse special Swiss roll. It has such a nice fluffy texture and just the right amount of sweetness to it. And it's made from all natural ingredients. So of course it's easy to digest as well.
I see.
Actually, they decided only recently to sell these rolls as the courthouse special. Of course, I've been sending in my special requests all along. Why don't you try sending in a request once in a while?
I suppose I'll just have to think of a good suggestion by the next time I come here. The bonus check? Your Honor, I'd like for you to please take a look at this piece of evidence.
Very well. The court will accept this into evidence.
No, wait. That's not what I showed it to you for.
Mr. Edgeworth, if I may, I suggest you bone up on court procedure a bit more. When evidence is shown before me, it goes into evidence. That is the law of the court.
Your Honor, I'm sorry to say this, but that rule does not apply to the outside world.
Come to think of it, I suppose court is not in session right now.
Being passionate about one's work is one thing, but to confuse it with real life. Oh, it's just the beginning. KGA, do you know anything about that? No. He has nothing to say about that. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about our actual subjects. The time of the murder.
Let's see here. Now then, how should I put this? When you get to be my age, you need to pay more frequent visits to the restroom. If you go take a look through the window at the end of the hall, you'll see a small window. That is the window to the men's restroom. In other words, you can see clearly into this hallway from the men's restroom.
That's a really bad design.
When I was going into the restroom, that Detective Gumshoe, is it? Well, he was standing in front of the vending machines buying something from it. However, and this I couldn't believe, when I was about to exit the restroom, there was not a soul in the hallway anymore.
Your Honor, if you could please calm down and explain it to me rationally.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Please, let me regain my composure. It was really suspicious. That's what my finely honed judge's intuition said. Although, well, until the murders occurred, I just sort of brushed it off.
Apparently this judge doesn't understand the concept of staying calm. Nope. The restroom window, huh? I wonder if you can really see the men's bathroom window from that one there. You can. I'm looking at it right now.
I demand that you show me this view at once.
I suspect that her height is what's limiting her ability to see. Francisco, why do you want to look in the men's bathroom? Stop it. That's probably all I'm going to find out from His Honor.
Mr. Edgeworth, may I return to my other duties now?
Yes, I'm sorry to have held you up. Thank you for your cooperation, Your Honor.
Oh, anytime, Mr. Edgeworth, anytime.
The judges in this country seem rather friendly. Yes, if not a little wishy-washy. However, I hear that they are known to hand down very fair verdicts. Bye, Judge. See ya in a couple years. Okay. Detective Bad, I have something I wish to inquire about. Yeah, just jam out to his cool theme song.
Hey, how about doing some actual work, you?
I wish to inquire into Detective Gumshoe's movements during the recess.
You're getting in the way of the investigation.
I have an order from Mr. Von Karma himself. Plus, I still hold investigative authority.
Tuh.
Alright, do I have anything in inventory you'd want to know about? Like the Swiss roll? Detective Bad, I'd like to ask you about this piece of evidence. What a narcissist. He'd rather look at his face than the evidence.
Don't trust your eyes all the time, little girl. I can see the evidence. And keep an eye on the two of you with this mirror.
What? Then why don't you answer?
Because I've got nothing to say. That's all.
Understood. Why couldn't he have just said that at the beginning? What about Gumshoe's bonus check? No, he has nothing to say about that. Too bad, too bad. Alright, understood. Yep. Plastic bag. Faraday's blood on it. Crime scene notes. What about the KG8 incident? The KG8 incident. We heard that you were involved in this case as well.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say?
It was an unpleasant case that I don't wish to recall. I've got a lot of regrets I'll never forget related to that. Regrets I'll take to the grave.
Does he really have that many regrets? He has no regrets. On the other hand, thinking back on what I know, I suppose he just might. Alright. Okay, well, let's talk. Detective Gumshoe. So I hear you were the one who called for Detective Gumshoe to come down here.
Faraday. That guy was just accused. You know. I just knew something was gonna happen. My detective's instinct told me.
A lot of good it did you. You couldn't even protect one lone prosecutor with it. Francisca, I think you need to apologize.
I'm sorry.
I'm terribly sorry, Detective Bad. Please continue.
I used the phone on the first floor and called the precinct. I told them to send somebody over. And that detective's the one that showed up.
And only upon his arrival did you set Detective Gumshoe to stand guard, Detective Bad?
Yeah. I waited for him on the first floor. After he got here, we came up to these defendant lobbies together. As we entered this hallway, we ran into you. She told us that Faraday was really mad, and that he dragged Rel off to lobby number 2 to have a word or something, and that Faraday has said to not let anyone interrupt them. So what choice did I have? All I could do was tell that big lug to stand guard outside.
And around what time did all of that take place?
Let's see. I think it was about 30 minutes before I heard the gunshot. After giving the big lug his assignment, he never left the hallway. Not once.
Oh, and how can you make such a claim?
One of the guards out in this floor's main lobby swore to me he didn't.
If the detective never left the hallway, then where did he disappear off to? That's simple. He must have gone into lobby number 2, just as I suspected.
You and I, we were in lobby number 1 next door. The only one without an alibi is Gumshoe.
It would seem that I am still missing some key pieces of information. Not Detective Gumshoe, we already talked about all that. Yeah, skip all that. And then, we gotta ask him about further stuff. Yeah. Detective Bad, right, we got all this. I think we'll finish this conversation up, and then we'll get to wrapping up for the night. Let's see what he has to say about the others. Okay, so I think obviously part of what happened here that I'm putting together is that Gumshoe and Kay went in together to buy the 2-pack of the Swiss rolls, and Gumshoe sat on the bench to eat it, which fell off, and that's why the ants are coming in. The judge couldn't see him because Gumshoe was sitting down. We've made a point about Franziska's height, so she can't see. So if Gumshoe was sat down on that bench, judge couldn't see him. So Gumshoe was in the hallway the entire time. It's just that the judge couldn't see him. There we go. The gunshot. Detective Bad, you also heard the gunshot, did you not?
Yeah. I heard it when I was in defendant lobby number 1. That's why I came running towards lobby number 2 together with you.
How much time elapsed between you hearing the gunshot and your arrival on the scene?
Less than a minute.
What were your movements upon hearing the gunshot?
I grabbed the big lug, who was just walking around in the hall, and raced into lobby number 2. And that's when we discovered the bodies. In that order.
That makes you the discoverer of the crime scene, right?
Yeah, I guess it does, little miss.
I'm about to become a prosecutor very soon. You will treat me with the dignity I deserve, or else.
You wave that thing around anymore, and I'll have you arrested for obstruction, little miss.
You wouldn't dare.
Just joking.
Yeah.
Detective Bad is really something if he can make Franziska behave.
Are we about done?
Is there anything else I should ask him about? The time he heard the gunshot, the place he heard the gunshot, the situation around the gunshot. Good question. Because we could ask a lot of those things, but... The situation, the place... Let's see, the place he heard, we know where he was at. He just said. The situation around the gunshot, I mean, he kind of already said that. The time he heard the gunshot. That'd be interesting. I'd like for you to tell me the exact time you heard the gunshot.
It was around the end of the recess, when the trial was about to start again. I think. He was supposed to make time for himself to transfer the evidence he was holding. But I got the sense he wasn't gonna show for the handoff. So I figured I should go get him, or he'd be late. And just as I thought that, bang! The sound of a gunshot hit my eardrums.
So we heard the gunshot right before the trial was about to restart, huh? Okay. Yeah, that... Because the judge said something about, like, it sounds like someone was having a birthday party or something?
Are we done here? I don't have any time to waste.
Oh, come on. All you're doing is standing in front of this door, doing nothing. I get the sense that he is somewhat investigating this crime scene, or rather that he is keeping us under surveillance. But to what end? Detective Bad, may I ask that you cooperate with us for just a bit longer?
I don't have anything else to say to the two of you. You guys were the ones who said you wanted to investigate in the first place.
Fine then, be obstinate. We'll just do it as we please. Come on, Miles. You may no longer be willing to help us. However, may I ask for the forensic scientist's cooperation?
Do as you like.
All right. Do we have any logic we can connect real quick? Let's see. The lobby number 2 window, the pink piece of trash, the vending machine, and the Swiss roll crumbs. Let's do the vending machine and the Swiss roll crumbs, because that seems like an obvious connection. There we go. These bits of chocolate and cake, could they not have come from a Swiss roll? A Swiss roll? Why would a courthouse sell a thing like that? It may not seem like the right venue, however, it is being sold right over there. The vending machine? Ah, I see. Stay neutral as the Swiss do until the end with these. 2 for $6, talk about expensive. Leaving the fact that it's on the expensive side aside, the fact that the cake crumbs and chocolate bits were found in this hallway suggests that they came from a Swiss roll that was purchased from this machine. I think I have a pretty clear picture of what happened here now. Naturally. After all, I'm here, aren't I? Detective Gumshoe must have sat on this bench as he ate a Swiss roll. And as he ate, he dropped it on the floor and sullied the bench. Okay, so he's coming to the same conclusion I did. Good. How could he not have cleaned up after himself? How utterly despicable. Don't you dare whip me again! It wasn't I who made the mess in the first place! Anyway, if it was indeed Detective Gumshoe who bought the Swiss roll, that creates a rather interesting contradiction of facts. A contradiction? Where? I think another look at the special courthouse vending machine is in order. Oh, I know what it is. But we'll pop into that next time. I'm gonna call it here. Yeah, it's his paycheck was only $5, so all the money he had was $5, and the Swiss rolls are $6. How did he afford it? Obviously, Cade got an extra $1, and they went in together for the Swiss rolls. But anyway, that's it for tonight. We will see you again next week. Bye.